Kewangan Negara tentang sungguhan kita dalam kemampanan ini.
现在我就得到那个 MSPO 的认证了，我们就根据这样那种规矩来去做，我们应该是会提高个产量。
Jadi sekarang ni kami sedang dalam fasa untuk mereka mematuhi beberapa aspek yang terdapat dalam persediaan MSPO.
Certification by MSPO. We like to take care of our workers. So I provide them the minimum wages recommended by the government as well as annual bonus.
Dan saya rasa banggalah apabila kita boleh menjalankan kerja-kerja pertanian secara lebih baik itu dari sudut pencemaran, daripada segi alam sekitar.
Kita telah meningkatkan lagi usaha-usaha perladangan yang baik ataupun best practices, yang mana best practices tersebut lebih menjurus kepada kemampanan dan kebolehbaikan pada alam sekitar.
Saya jaga kelapa sawit ni daripada naluri hati saya lah. Kalau kita melahirkan anak, kalau tak jaga dia tak akan hidup. Macam tu juga kelapa sawit, kalau kita tanam, tak jaga semak, tak letak baja, macam mana nak hidup, dia tak hidup. Dia adalah satu sampingan hidup pada keluarga saya dan juga generasi-generasi yang ada dan juga penduduk-penduduk kampung setempat.
Okay. உங்களுக்கு நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணீங்க தான் தேவைப்படுதா நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணீங்க Okay.
Can you all mute? Tak ada.
Testing for mic and screen. Please comment on the chat box on the right side of your screen should you have any problem. We will start our webinar in a moment.
Nanti dia bergema. Oh, pakai headphone.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Aina, and for those of you who do not know me, I'm the Supply Chain Executive. I'm the MC for today. It is my pleasure to welcome you this morning. I would like to thank you for joining us today for our first webinar and the launching of the MSPO Trace Traceability Module. Should you have any question or problems, you may raise your questions on the chat box, or you can just send an email to webinar@mpocc.org.my. Going through our agenda for today, we will start with launching speech by our CEO. Then we will proceed to the first presentation on the module introduction and overview. Next, our second agenda, we will demonstrate the module and how the system works before the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. We will select a few questions that are relevant and answer the questions during the Q&A session. Without further ado, I would like to invite our CEO, Mr. Q Jitseng, to give an opening remarks and next to launch the MSPO Traceability Module. Please welcome Mr. Q Jitseng.
Thank you, Aina. A very good morning to all who have joined us in our webinar today. The Malaysian Palm Oil Certification Council, MPOCC, is proud to take sustainability a notch further as we launch the traceability module as part of our in-house application, MSPO Trace, which is freely available as mobile applications in both App Store and Google Play. We launched MSPO Trace comprising of 4 modules, that is certification, logo, complaints and grievance, and traceability in the Certified Sustainable Palm Oil CSPO Forum in November last year. The MSPO Trace is a step to further strengthen the traceability aspects of the MSPO supply chain for Malaysia's palm oil market. After considering comments and feedback from industry players, agencies and interested stakeholders, the traceability module is now ready for use today. The traceability module was developed to fulfill requirement 12 of the Supply Chain Certification Standards, SCCS, which requires the certified entity to register its production and sale of MSPO certified products on applicable IT platform. The traceability module will manage the core of traceability, that is, the ability to trace the palm oil product to its source. Users will be able to access information of the palm oil purchase if it's indeed from a sustainable source. This is in line with the Sustainable Development Goals 5 pillars of sustainability, which are the people, planet, peace, prosperity, and partnership. The traceability module, which goes live today, has a total of 649 MSPO traceability accounts, which will be created for all certified SCCS processing entities. The compulsory commencement of the module is on 1st September 2020, where it is centered with the objective to trace the supply chain of MSPO certified products within Malaysia, as well as to identify the production and stocks of MSPO certified crude palm oil and palm kernel. Some of the pertinent information that will be included are details like the name and address of the seller and buyer, products identification, including applicable supply chain models, the quantity of the products delivered, the loading or delivery date, related transportation documentation with a unique identification number, MSPO certificate number, and MSPO certificate validity. Prior to its launch today, we have done rigorous testing of the module from April to June 2020 with the cooperation of Mewah Oleo Industries Sdn Berhad, PPB Oil Berhad, and Sarawak Oil Palm Berhad. MPOCC would like to extend its appreciation to these organizations and their dedicated staff for the positive outcomes. I would now like to invite Mr. Chia Chi En, Manager of Supply Chain and Traceability at MPOCC, to take us through a presentation detailing the module and the manual to get login details and account activation and system manual. Thank you very much for your participation. Aina, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chiu, for the speech and the launching. Now, let's watch our new traceability module video.
Malaysian palm oil is used in various applications worldwide, such as food, feed, home, personal care products, and fuel. Being a wise consumer, we always ask ourselves these common questions. Where does the palm oil in my product come from? Is palm oil grown under good agricultural practices? Am I consuming certified palm products? Are there any deforestation or animal habitat violation along the process of making palm oil? And finally, how do I track and trace the palm oil right from its source to the product I'm about to use? Well, MSPO Trace has the solution. MSPO Trace is a platform designed and developed by Malaysian Palm Oil Certification Council to monitor the certification and traceability of Malaysian palm oil supply chain. This unique platform is divided into two categories. 1. Certification. Accredited certification bodies conduct annual audits on palm oil plantations and processing facilities to ensure entities operate under the Oil Palm Management Certification and Supply Chain Certification standards. MSPO Trace is able to display the certification information on each and every entity involved in supply chain with their precise respective geolocation. 2. Traceability. MSPO Trace is able to identify and indicate the history, distribution location, and application of palm products to ensure the reliability and sustainability claims in the areas of human rights, labor, health and safety, and the environment. Fresh palm fruit bunches harvested by smallholders, organized smallholders, estates, and dealers are transported to palm oil mills to be transformed into crude palm oil (CPO) and palm kernel (PK). Next in the supply chain, crude palm oil and palm kernels are sent to refineries and kernel crushers respectively. Products from refineries and crushers are then supplied to downstream processing facilities such as oleochemical and biodiesel plants for further conversion. Let's look at the features of traceability in MSPO Trace: processing facility profile creation, supplier and buyer database, sales announcements, transaction and records, graphical data analysis, and supply chain diagram. MSPO tracks every process and transaction taking place in the Malaysian palm oil industry, and it does not stop there. MSPO Trace is able to integrate local and international industry players as a part of the traceability system. MSPO Trace allows all palm product users around the world to verify the product certification and trace out the supply chain by just scanning the QR code via their mobile phones. This means a user in the UK will be able to view the whole supply chain of certified Malaysian palm product sources right up to a smallholder in Teluk Intan by simply scanning a QR code at the back of her cosmetic products. With the continuous participation of each stakeholder in Malaysian palm oil industry, MSPO Trace utilizes big data management and GPS to display the real-time and specific transaction at every stage of Malaysian palm oil supply chain. The system also provides data of each buyer and seller at multiple levels in the supply chain to make procurement decisions more transparent on where and whom are involved during each shipment. MSPO Trace is based on three core principles: accountability, sustainability, and traceability. Is now ready towards promoting certified and traceable Malaysian palm oil to the world.
Moving right along, let's start our briefing on the traceability module. I'm pleased to introduce our speaker, Mr. Chia Chi-en, the Manager of Supply Chain and Traceability Unit of MPOCC, to introduce you to the traceability module. You may continue, Mr. Chia.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I think there is an issue with the echo. I think we are actually in the process of moving office, so maybe there is a bit of an issue because we don't have much place to sit. By August next month, we will be located in a new building in Subang Jaya. So please bear with us. All right. So today, what I will go through with you is the introduction to the MSPO Trace, which is not new to you, but the traceability module is this is something new for most of you. So this is actually one of the modules in MSPO Trace. As you can see, currently the MSPO Trace has 4 modules. Certification for both OPMC and SCCS entities, means the certified entities will be listed in the MSPO Trace. Traceability, which is the topic of today's discussion. Besides that, we have also logo use applications, where whoever wants to apply for MSPO logo use can apply through the MSPO Trace. And last of all is the complaints and grievance. So as you can see, if you log into MSPO Trace now, there will be these buttons here. So these are currently the 4 main modules that is working for MSPO Trace. So first of all, what is traceability? The long definition and the comprehensive one is the ability to identify, indicate the history, distribution, location, and application of products, parts, and materials to ensure the reliability of sustainability claims in the areas of human rights, labor, health, safety, and environment. In short, basically, this is it means that the product that we have on our hand, let's say a bottle of oil or a bar of soap, where will the source of the materials come from? Can you hear me? Oh, sorry. My apologies. Oh. Okay. Can you see me now? Can you see the slides now? Yeah. So sorry about that. So yeah. So okay. So traceability is being able to identify where is the source of the materials coming from. So what is the traceability module? It was developed with the objective, 3 objectives in mind. First is to trace the MSPO certified products throughout the supply chain. Means every time it change hands, the product should be traceable. Second is to identify the production and stocks of MSPO certified CPO and PK. Of course, this is more so for the meal, but we, as a scheme owner, we want to ensure that we can track, or at least we need to monitor the production of CPO and PK, MSPO certified throughout Malaysia, especially throughout Malaysia since we are MSPO. And thirdly, the traceability module is actually developed to fulfill the requirements of the standard. So there are 2 requirements here, which I'll show you in the next slide, which is the MSPO SCCS requirement. So actually, just a explanation is this requirement or the traceability module is only for supply chain certification certified entities. So those who are certified against this standard, in requirement number 7, sorry, hold on. Okay. The traceability requirement is that organizations shall ensure that the documents associated with the transactions between the customer and supplier of the certified palm oil products shall at least include the following information: the name, address of the seller and buyer, the productions, identification including the applicable supply chain models, either mass balance or segregation, the quality of the products delivered, D, the loading or delivery date, E, the related transportation documentation with a unique identification number, F, MSPO certified number, and G, the MSPO certificate validity. So all this information is required for traceability. Means between transactions between one party to another, there needs to be this information. Besides that, the MSPO SCCS also requires in requirement number 12, IT platform, which is the organization within the supply chain must register its production and sales of MSPO certified products in the available system. This means if you were to look at the standard as it is today, there is actually a star right in the word system here, and it says that this requirement will only be applicable when the appropriate platform is ready. So this is actually the purpose of the traceability module in MSPO Trace, which we are presenting today. So these two are requirements in the standard. As I mentioned previously, it was not applicable, but since it's ready today, the date of implementation for MSPO SCCS certified entities will start from 1st September 2020. What does this mean? Any certified entities which are already trading MSPO certified oil would have to comply with these requirements starting 1st September 2020. This also means that after this date, your certification bodies can give you non-conformity if you're not using the system. So this is how this is rolled out. But as of today, as later my colleague will present to you, you can actually log in and you can actually start using the system starting from today. So you have about 1.5 months to get used to the system so that you'll be able to implement this. So who are the users for this traceability module? We have divided it into 6, but in summary, we basically all those who are supply chain certified entities. This comprises of the millers, refineries, kernel crushers, oleochemical plants, biodiesel plants, and others. Others basically is a catch-all. Whoever is certified for the MSPO supply chain standard. So in terms of the user's responsibility, because it is a traceability platform, plantations don't need to get certified for this, but the duty is actually falls a lot on the mill. So if you see in this table, the requirements of the palm oil mill, first they need to report monthly MSPO certified production of their stocks for CPO and PK. So they need to declare, the mills need to declare how much of MSPO certified production throughout the whole month and what is left for both CPO and PK for MSPO certified. Second, they will need to upload MSPO certified and non-certified FFB receiving list. Means the mill would have to fill up a table of all the suppliers that they got throughout the whole month. Whether it's certified or non-certified, mills will have to fill up this information. This is actually to link so that the system will know that how much FFB is being produced, whether it's uncertified or uncertified. Number 3, for the mill is to update supply and buyer information. So whoever you're buying from and whoever you're selling to needs to be included in the system. Of course, The process of how to do that will again be presented by my colleague. And fourth of all, declaration of MSPO sales transactions. I'll go a bit more detail into the sales declaration, where basically every entity that wants to sell needs to post a declaration, sales declaration in the system so that the buyer can pick it up. So for the other entities, so down the supply chain, refinery, oil chemicals, biodiesels, and end product manufacturers, which are the others, all of these have to do what the mill is doing in number 3, which is to update the supply and buyer information and to declare the MSPO sales transaction. So, okay, so we go a bit more in detail of what the mill should do. As I said, there were 4 categories just now. So here, they would need to declare the certified CPO and the certified PK volume, MSPO certified. So they will need to declare both CPO and PK. They also have to declare the opening stock, means as of first of the month, how much CPO do you have and how much PK do you have. As of the end of the month, 30th or 31st, how much CPO and how much PK do you have. In this file, the FFB receive list is where I mentioned that the mills will need to declare both certified and non-certified sources of FFB. Right, so it's actually in a table form. You can download that. Once you fill out the table, you upload it, the system will automatically recognize. Okay, the MSPO sales declaration. So every transactions must be declared in MSPO Trace. Every transaction of MSPO certified products, MSPO certified oil will have to be declared through the MSPO Trace. So the seller will need to make MSPO sales announcement within 30 days after the transaction occurs. So number 2 is the SCCS buyer will confirm the sales and receive the traceability slip declaration. There is actually a document that will be generated by the program. So they will receive the traceability declaration slip and they will obtain this traceability fishbone chain diagram, which I will explain in my next few slides. So it is actually like the seller would extend the sales declaration, and then the buyer will confirm, which will then seal in the sales, which is kind of the receipt is produced through the traceability declaration slip. Okay, number 3, in case of non-certified buyers, whether it's mostly will be international, we see. So non-certified buyer sales confirmation will be done by MPOCC. The sustainability declaration slip will be sent by email to the buyer to complete the transaction. How this works, maybe I can explain with the table below. So for a certified buyer, the seller will make the sales announcement and the buyer will just confirm the sales announcement, and then they will get the traceability declaration slip. For a non-certified buyer, which is usually an international buyer, the seller will still make the sales announcement because this is through MSPO Trace. This is certified oil. What will happen is both transactions will happen through MSPO Trace, but if a non-certified buyer, they will not have access to MSPO Trace, but the sales is still MSPO, right? So the seller will make the announcement, but instead of the buyer making the receipt of the sales, MPOCC will, for now, take this role to receive. So we will have notifications and MPOCC will confirm the sales of the announcement. So we will click in the system that it is indeed sold by seller A, seller B. The system will then issue an email to the non-certified buyer. They will produce this sustainability declaration slip and email it to the buyer, which you all have to key in the emails. Then they will at least receive some kind of slip that they are buying MSPO certified products. Okay. Sorry. Sales announcement. How does it look like? So, if I were to declare sales, we have sample product, sample sales announcement here. So, all this, all this information will have to be filled in by the person selling. There is if you are selling, it actually links to your certificate. So if you were to register, they will ask you for your certificate number and the validity of your certificate. So all this information on the left, seller information, is all automatically generated. This buyer information will have to be keyed in by the seller to make sure that there is the transaction in between. But this is the sample of a sales announcement. So what happens is once the buyer confirms that they are buying from these sales, they will receive this traceability declaration slip. This is actually more of like a receipt. And you can see at the top right corner, there is also a QR code that is generated. So this information actually all, with this information alone, it is actually enough to fulfill the requirements, as I mentioned below, above previously just now, in 7.1 of the MSPO SCCS standard. So there were a lot of things just now. You don't need to worry so much because the system actually helps to capture all the required information. So in terms of the barcode, the QR code at the top right, what will happen is by scanning the QR code, those relevant to the supply chain, when you scan the QR code, they will be able to access certain information. The information that will be revealed is the traceability declarations, the seller and buyer information, product details, shipment details, and the traceability fishbone diagram. The traceability fishbone diagram will be for MSPO certified products. As you can see, this is a sample. If this is all samples, so if you are a refinery, you will be able to see where you get the oil from and which estates are supplying to that mill. To show it in more detail, when you have your account and you click this supply chain, which is to actually say what is the whole supply chain that you're buying from, you will see this kind of thing. So, for example, the palm oil mill, the palm oil refinery sources from this list of oil mills, and this mill sources from this list of estates. So you one step further is if you were to click on any of the entities, they will be able to show where they are located through MSPO Trace. This information is actually extracted from the certification module where you have to put the GPS. So in terms of knowing, or the comfort of knowing where your oil is from, where the FFP is sourced from, you'll be able to know through this traceability module, which is in MSPO Trace. Just some information, the individual estate list will be listed, but if it's dealers, they will just show the dealers because we are still limited by the certificate. So as of now, we will show up to the certificate only, which for dealers it will be up to dealer name. This also has to be keyed in by the mill during the registration process. So in conclusion, how does it all work? The supply chain information in the traceability module would be able to trace this whole process. So if you were to scan here, you'll be able to get refinery, oil mill, and FFP suppliers. If you were to scan at the end product, you'll be able to get all the way to the FFP suppliers. In terms of how this is all audited, of course, this is this is all information that will be verified through certification bodies during audits, and yeah, this information will be accessible to all transactions throughout the whole supply chain. So yeah, so the next step would be how to access all these great features, right? So there is a registration button here. I think, but I'll leave it to my colleague to explain a bit more regarding this. So yeah, I guess that's all. Okay. So thank you very much. I'm so sorry, am receiving a lot of comments that there is problems here. This is our first webinar, so thank you for bearing with us. Uh, and yeah, see you all soon. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I hope the voice is better now. Sorry for the problem arise. Thanks, Mr. Chair, for the information given. Next, we welcome Ms. Nasiha, Executive of MSPO Trace, to continue our program for today. She will explain in details on how to log in and activate your account. Ms. Nasiha will also demonstrate on how the system works. The screen is now yours, Ms. Nasiha.
So hello, good morning everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Nasiha, the executive of MSPO Trace. I will present how MSPO Trace is actually working for those who want to get their account, how to log in, how to do all the transactions, how do you upload your supplier list and all that. So I'll start with what? Okay, so I would like to Okay, so I would like to remind to join. So my topic will be one, how to register for your account. Second, your registration. Third, monthly declaration. Second and third topic is only for palm oil mill users. Fourth, traceability announcement declaration. Fifth, supply chain traceability diagram demonstration. So first of all, you have to go to mspotrace.org.my. Okay, this is mspotrace.org.my. For those of you who want to get your account, how to log in, you have to click registration. Click registration, and then you have to key in your certificate number, and you can just ignore the space between the numbers and the letters. So I will demonstrate my dummy certificate number here. This is for a palm oil mill account. So let's say the certificate number is SSC 0000189. Click next. And then you have to choose your entity, because sometimes you may key in a different certificate number, probably there's an error or whatever. You have to choose whether this entity is actually your entity. Click on it. It is actually rimba hijau palm oil meal. I click on it, click next, and then confirm your entity details and check the details here whether it's true or not. Is this really your company? Rimba hijau palm oil meal, rimba hijau group. Company rimba hijau group. Address is in Perak. Certification body, okay, because this is test. So the expiry date and also the SCCS scope. Choose all this and make sure it is correct. Click this tab that you are hereby declare that information displayed here is correct and that is that it is indeed your company. Then click next. Then you have to email your no, you have to key in your email address. Let's say here it's nasiha at mpocc.org. Right? And then put the name of the person in charge, meaning the one who will be maintaining the account. So the one who's in charge for declaring the transaction and the one who actually supposed to upload all the supplier list and also the FFP list. So then click next. Okay, you are successfully registered. Your username and password has been sent to your correspondence email ID. So you will receive this email. Once you have checked your email, you can go to the login page. Login page is here, and then you can key in the ID given to you. Example here, I received my ID is POM 116334. My username, which is also in the email. In the email sent to you earlier, it will include your ID, your username, and also your password. And then click next. Why does it take so long? Your internet connection, the site cannot be reached. So you try and refresh again. Okay, I'll just put another ID. So sorry, I'm so nervous. So you key in your whatever is being emailed to you, and then sure you can log in. So this is what you will see. MSPO Trace will say, welcome, thank you for using MSPO Trace. You are required to update your profile by clicking the update profile. So I won't be teaching you how to update your profile and how to change your password because that is very straightforward. But I will explain how do you report your supplier and buyer registration. To report your okay, first of all, this is how it looks at, yeah. When once you log in, this will be your tab. On the right corner here is your profile, and this is your inbox. Once you have made a transaction, you have to wait until your buyer to confirm the sales. So let's say your client reject the sales. This is where it will appear. MSPO sales rejected list. And this one is sales pending list, meaning when you have any transaction, when you make transaction, or you have your seller selling your CPO, let's say, this is where it will appear. Is a notification
list of all the pending sales means you have to click and you have to click this button, this orange yellow button here, and you can confirm the sales like this. And once you confirm, it will goes into your history reports. So let's say if you reject it, your seller will receive the notification here in this MSPO sales rejected list. Okay, so for you to register your supplier and your buyer list, you have to click on your left tab here, click supplier registration. Okay, MSPO Trace, please register your supplier by clicking register supplier. So if it's a new, all account will be new. So click register supplier, and then please be informed if your supplier is not MSPO certified, you have to add your supplier here at this green button. If it's certified, you can just key in the name of that supplier. For example, Kahang Estates. You click Kahang Estates and it's an estate, so you make sure it is correct, and then you save it. Once you save, it will be in your list. So if you register your non-certified supplier, you have to add all this information. What is the category of your supplier? If it's an estate, organized smallholder, independent smallholder, or a dealer. If it's a dealer, then click dealer. Key in the parent company. Let's say it's ABC company, ABC dealers, Endeavour Heights. And then if it's the same, key in the name. And then most importantly, you have to put the MPOB license number. And then because it's a dealer, let's say your dealer is actually giving you the list of suppliers that supply to the dealers. You can get that information and upload it here. Yeah, for example, this is okay. This is the template. You key in the name, the MPOB license number. And if it's certified, you key in the Sigil MSPO number. And once you have key in all that information, you can save that Excel file and upload this here. Okay. And then please key in the contact person name for this contact person name is contact number, mailing address, and email. And also number of smallholders that are actually under that dealers. If it's smallholder, key in the smallholders number. And then save it. It will again appear in your supplier list. For buyer registration, is the same technique. If it's certified, just key in the name if it's, and then you can save it. Okay, for your buyer that are not certified, okay, I will get back. How okay, we proceed with announcement declaration first. So this is sales announcement list will look slip will look like. It includes the information of the company, the seller, and also the buyer company name. Hold on, I have internet problem again here. Okay, this is announcement declaration slip. Okay, so you are only required to do the sales announcement when your client is actually asking for MSPO oil or MSPO product. If it's just, even though you are certified but you have not made any MSPO sales, you do not need to do this sales announcement, because basically this announcement declaration is like a proof that you are buying, and is a proof for your buyer that your buyer is actually buying a MSPO certified product. So you so as long as they are not asking for any MSPO, you do not have to do this announcement. So when you make announcement, you have to key in your buyer name. Okay, so please be informed that earlier you have add your buyer and also supplier list. So once you make the sales announcement, you can just select the buyer that you have registered, and all information will come out. So you select the commodity, because this is for palm oil mill account. Select CPO and how much the volume that you're selling. Let's say 100 metric ton, and select the SCCS model you're using. This is for a company or palm oil mill that is undergo both MB and SG. But if you're only certified for MB, you cannot choose. You can only sell MB. And if you're only certified for SG, you can only choose SG. You can choose if you are certified for both. So transportation mode is by shipping. This is shipping, and then you have to key in your delivery period, delivery order number, BL number, port of loading, and port of discharge. All this information you can refer to your sales documentation and key in. So you confirm your announcement, and you wait until your buyer confirm the sales announcement. Then only you can print the MSPO sales declaration script slip. Okay, this is how it will look like. Example, company name, buyer information, product details, shipment details. And up here you have this transaction ID, meaning now for all transaction happen in the system, it will have its own transaction ID. This ID, like Mr. Chia has mentioned, once you scan it, you can view the I call it fishbone traceability diagram. So for this account, for this account, the user has already updated supplier and is also his buyer list. So once you click the supply chain tab, you will see this. This is actually based on what you have keyed in. Yeah, where's the location of, and then you can see all your supplier list here. If it's MSPO certified, this node will come out. Okay. Please also be informed that some estates, some entities in MSPO Trace is still haven't report their GPS coordinates, and we are actually trying very hard to overcome that. And so if no GPS pin appear, it means that information is actually missing in MSPO Trace system. So if your supplier or your buyer is actually certified, but the GPS information is not is missed, please contact the CB and get your CB to key in the information in the system. Okay. Okay, I think I am too fast. I have demonstrated how the system actually works. So if you have more questions, and of course everyone will have questions, please email to webinar and I will reply the email one by one. I will pass the screen back to Aina, and Aina, the screen is yours now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Ms. Nasiha. Okay, so we have a few minutes more. As I mentioned earlier, you may raise your question via the chat box on the right side of the screen or through the email to webinar@mpocc.org.my. We will select a few questions where Mr. Chia will answer it. For questions who not answered here, we will address your question in a separate email later. So, okay. For the first question, from Lee Kuan Yi, is the MSPO SCCS model according to the model certified? Why there is a fixed accounting mentioned here?
Okay, thank you, Kuan Yi. Actually, maybe this question has already maybe addressed by Ms. Nasiha. Looking at the comments through the phone. So the model certified is actually MB or segregated only. So fixed accounting or continuous accounting is based on what the certified entity wishes to declare. Actually, the accounting system is.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kuan Yi, for the questions. The CCS model is either mass balance or segregated. So it's either these two only. Whether it's fixed accounting or continuous accounting is actually the how they monitor, how entities monitor the certified material. So yeah. Okay, maybe I just read all the questions lah. Huh? So, how would we have a question from Smita Jairam? How would this work for independent smallholders, dealers, and independent estates? So actually, we got a few of these type of questions where there is uncertainty regarding how the FFB suppliers will key into MSPO Trace. Again, those who are not SCCS certified will not get the access to the traceability module. So it's only mill onwards. It is a mill's responsibility to declare the FFB certified and non-certified. So how this works is the mill will need to list out all. They need to know who are the suppliers. So they need to list out all of the suppliers, whether it's 30, 40 suppliers. You need to list them all out. If it's just dealers, they also need to have the name of the dealers. Besides that, they also need to know how much, in terms of volume, each of these suppliers produces or at least sends to the mill. So they need to put it in record. Actually, the dealers also would need to list out their smallholders that are supplying to them. So this can be done by the mill asking the dealers for that list, but this whole information would have to go into the MSPO traceability module for the mill. So the mill would have to declare certified, non-certified. The system will then be able to identify whether the name of, let's say, estate A, estate B, whether they are certified or not, because the system will check back with the certification module for the list of, I think now we have almost 4,000 plus entities certified. They will be able to check back whether they're certified or not, and then the system will be able to automatically identify whether the source is MSPO certified or not. All right. Okay, going to the next question from Muhammad Shafiq. Does the traceability include FFB from certified as state? Yes, it does. If so, how does we verify the FFB sending from the dealers and weighbridge? It does not go to the weighbridge, so we have not reached that stage where we integrate the system to the weighbridge. Maybe a project for the future, but the mills will have to key in manually. So you need to have someone trained, as is in the requirements of the SCCS, to be able to upload the FFB supply list into the MSPO traceability module. So it is actually manually done for now. Yeah, that we find that is the most efficient way to get the information. All right. So a question from Daniel Hazul. Can MSPO non-certified entity log in? Uh, no, they cannot. That is why for international buyers that are not certified, MPOCC has to be the person to link the account. If they are FFB suppliers that are not certified, it doesn't really matter to them because the mill is the one that is um, including them in the list. Basically, if you're not certified, you cannot log in because you will need information such as your certificate number. Uh, yeah, certificate number. So certified can use, uncertified cannot use. But if you are certified, the date is 1st September. You have to use the system to transact MSPO certified oil. If you're selling conventional, non-certified, or other certified, you don't need to key into the system. Okay. Encik Muhammad Shafiq Zawawi. Okay. I think. What is the current status of enforcement for FFB dealers to establish the traceability system? Dealers, for now, they can't get certified, but they would have to supply the information of their suppliers to the mill. You have to key in one by one all the molders they are buying from, or any sources that they're buying from, and they have to supply it to the mill. The mill's responsibility is to get all these details from the dealer, so they need to list it all out. Yeah.
Mr. Chia, I would also like to inform that
There's one more question from an email.
Hi, Chia.
MSPO certification for industries under others. Currently define others. Others would be, as I mentioned just now, the mostly end product manufacturers. So those who cannot categorize themselves as mills, refineries, oleochemicals, biodiesels would fall under others. It's a catch-all kind of thing. It can get quite large, we know, but that for now is the best way we can monitor, or at least to certify those who are outside. Because if you're going to categorize it one by one, the possibilities is quite large. So for now, we just put it as others. All right. I think.
Hello, Chia. Can you hear me, Chia?
That is for now, since it's already 11 and we did promise to end at 11, I will stop here. Again, if you have any questions, as you can see in the slide, please send it to our email. We will not look at the chat box anymore. So if you have questions, please send it to the email at webinar@mpocc.org.my. We will take time to send it, reply it. This video also will be available on our YouTube page. I think this at this exact link. So if you have any further questions in the future, in the next 30 days or so, you can definitely send your questions there. So, and you are free to share this video to anyone that will have to use the MSPO traceability module for SCCS certification. So thank you. I'll pass this time back to Miss Aina.
Hello. Okay. As now it's already 11. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our webinar for today. On behalf of MPOCC, we would like to thank you all for your making time in your busy schedule to join us in this morning. As mentioned by Mr. Chia, we will upload this webinar and post it on MSPO YouTube channel for your future reference later. And we also will email the slides presentation to your registered email also. It has been our pleasure to host this webinar, and I wish you all a pleasant day. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.